Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Oober and I'm going to be bringing you another coaching session for the Master McLovin, the Terran in the top right versus the Protoss Schwag in the bottom left. Now McLovin has asked the Reddit community to give him some opinions on his new TvP build, and I'm a little late in casting this coaching session because I wanted to try it out myself. I am a Terran player mainly, so I wanted to give him some in-depth feedback of what I felt about this Terran versus Protoss build. So I've been trying it out on the ladder all day yesterday, and there's your production tab, so that I can give him some honest criticisms and feedback of this build. I do in fact like it. He posted 3 replays up on reddit.com/r/starcraft feedback for critiquing, and there's no responses yet because these are really high level games, and to be fairly honest, it's really tough to give critiques on such a high plane of thinking because you have to think abstractly, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be hopefully showing him some fundamental builds that could counter this. Fundamental builds, that doesn't even make sense, but I'm sticking with it. We're going with fundamental builds that could counter this very easily, because I did have one game yesterday in a TvP where I tried this build out, and man, did I get stomped. He scouted me so awesomely and knew exactly what to do. This is going to be a diamond level play. McLovin, I believe, was either 1400 or 1500 at the time of this replay, and our Protoss Schwag was, I think, 2300. So this is going to be a fairly high level play. We should see good macro, good micro from both players, and a fairly entertaining match. Running at 2x speed, getting the second gas early, and only producing Marines out of this barracks. This is awesome. Going with a wall-in. Normally I'd reprimand you for the wall-in, but it is fairly important for this build because you are super vulnerable until you get this siege tech out. And man, does that siege tech stop 4 gates in their tracks. I would like to see some scouting around the 2-minute mark. Or 5-minute mark, sorry, because you don't really know anything that's going on. But just run an STV down here, suicided in, anything like that. So let's go ahead and slow it down, because now we can see exactly what's going on with this build. It is a siege tank fast expand. You get 2 siege tanks with siege tech and only Marines as fast as possible, and then immediately throw down your command center around the 6 or 7-minute mark to expand as quickly as you can. And it's fairly safe because you have tons of minerals for your Marines, and you use almost all of your gas on your tanks, and you can throw down your extra minerals on bunkers. Now, you did see that Phoenix, so you know he is going a Stargate build. Finally throwing down something to scout. Awesome, doing great. Now, staying siege tanks the whole game can prove very awesome if your opponent goes mostly gateway or robo-focused army compositions. Anything else, however, is going to be very, very difficult for you to counter because it's a ground force, a highly, highly immobile ground force with Marines and tanks, versus a highly, highly mobile air force. So I found that this play is super, super awesome when the Protoss does a 4-gate or a 3-gate robo or a 2-gate robo, any kind of robo play, Colossus Immortal. I mean, you would think Immortals would be a good hard counter to tanks, but they're not when you have 800 of them in the backfield and Marines just kiting stuff around. It's really awesome. Throwing down expansion right at 9 minutes. I think I could get my expansion down yesterday at about the 8-minute mark successfully, but I'll be fairly honest, your build, you've practiced this way more than me, and you're a lot crisper at it than I was. Throwing down 3 wrecks. I'd usually try and throw down a second factory about now, but I know you do that. And here's Phoenixes being annoying. Throw down 1 turret or 2 back here, and that is shut down. I'm going to lose. Nope, not going to lose that Phoenix. And now you see how safe this expansion is. You have 5 tanks, you have a billion Marines. If you throw down a bunker here and a bunker here, it's practically invulnerable at this point. And you can just constantly macro up. It's awesome. I love it. Getting that armory down. There's your second factory. Awesome. You have great saturation. The build is really safe right now. It's really safe. That's what's great about it. I would love to see a little bit more scouting and not supply blocking yourself, but it happens to all of us. And in fact, it's hilarious because you end up throwing down, supply drops on all of these 6 by the end of the game. So just stay on top of your supply depots. If you ever see you have a couple extra minerals, throw down supply depots. That's how I remember. So constantly getting those Marines. Got 2 reactors up, so those Marines are going to be coming out hot and heavy. Marine shield, I like that before stem because you won't have medevacs to heal these guys up at all. Those 3 Phoenixes being annoying. Now this is why I would love to see you scout right now, because the main composition that I found that crushed this build to me in Protoss vs. Terran was Phoenix Zealot. Speedlots with Phoenixes absolutely demolished this build. And that's the problem, is it's so easy to go, if you just get a Stargate instead of your rowboat, you can still scout just fine. And if you get like 6, 7, 8 Phoenixes and then everything else is Zealots and upgrades for those Zealots, then this build just crumbles. You get like maybe 1 observer out to keep an eye on stuff, which I don't think you know it, but there is an observer right here. There it is. So he does know exactly what you're doing, but unfortunately he doesn't respond very well. And this is what this build, this is like the safest, this is a Terran player saying, I just want to macro, period. I want to macro and nothing else. So you get Marines and siege tanks and as many expansions as possible. And that's what you do, you try and go for this gold as fast as you want. Now right here is your first huge vulnerability. What happens if there were Zealots waiting at this watchtower and Phoenixes waiting behind you? Because you know these Phoenix are everywhere scouting. What if those Zealots were waiting at this watchtower and you haven't scouted in 5-6 minutes? What if he had mass speedlots and Phoenixes? This army in this position would crumble. Absolutely. 6 Phoenixes would pick up these tanks. The Zealots would crush through this entire line before you even got close. And it would just not be pretty at all. But now that you're out of that position, you have these guys sieged up, it's a little bit safer, and you have this watchtower. So props to you. You are only unsafe for a little bit of time. You almost have this third expansion up. You're doing great. We've got 2 tanks still in the backfield. Oh, there's the observer out. Oh, it's gone. Look at all these supply drops. Okay, you don't need to do this. This is way too many supply drops. Use some scans. Alright, here's a big army coming. Immortals and Stalkers. Lucky for you that this army is going to demolish and wreck this army. Finally using a scan. Still don't know what's in his base. Still don't know if he has an expansion or a third yet. Don't know if he has a gold. Now, here is also something fairly important to realize. Right now, with your only goal trying to get this gold, you have left this entire attack path up to your main completely vulnerable. And because this army is so immobile, and this is just a map item, that this right here could be death. That could be an instant loss for you. If the Protoss had scouted this, and if this was a pro level game, you sure bet your ass he would. This would be dead, especially if he had this gold expansion. This attack path would just come so natural. But he doesn't do that, and you end up getting this planetary fortress up, getting some bunkers up, again opting for turtle and macro play, getting weapons 2, awesome. And you've got 1-1 on your Marines at 16 minutes. 3, almost at 200 food. Awesome. Pull these back. There you go. Perfect. Now, he did a really smart thing, flanking these stalkers in the back, and then bringing these phoenixes in after your Marines were already firing to pick up these tanks. But he just didn't have enough phoenixes because you have 80 billion tanks. So we're going to see that it's not going to work out as well as it could have, especially if he had gone zealots instead of armored units, because zealots suck, or tanks suck against zealots because of the nerf. They don't do that much damage against light. But he opted to go armor, which means that these guys crushed his army. And here's the other big flaw I saw in your play, is that you didn't have any aggression. There's no aggression built in your play. And in fact, after that encounter, let's look at the army difference. Oh my god, you're 100 food ahead. Attack! Attack! Go forth and kill, my brethren. Please. You are 100 freaking food ahead. Scout, attack. Anything, for the love of God. And I mean everything. Send everything. The game is over. But again, this is a very macro style game, so I'm okay with it. But watching all 3 of the games, it was a bit painful how little you attacked. And in most of the other longer games, you didn't have a huge in-game strategy. Your entire strategy was mid-game. It was just, yeah, I want to only go tanks and Marines, and I want to upgrade the crap out of them, and that's gonna be my final army. I would love to see like a starport with some medevacs, maybe a Banshee or 2, you know, some drops. Any kind of aggression brought into this game would be awesome. Especially if it had to do with anti-Phoenix aggression.
Upgrade complete.
That would be super, super awesome, because Phoenix Zealot is the hard counter to this build, without a doubt.
Ready for dust off.
I would post my replay of the Phoenix Zealot dude crushing me, but it's fairly embarrassing how badly I lost, especially when I lost all of my tanks early game. I lost
complete.
8 or 9 tanks early game, just repositioning them when I shouldn't have. It was sort of sad. But just trust me, it was rough. Fighting Phoenix mass lot was nasty, and still you're not attacking. You pushed up a little bit, you took some more map control, but God, you're not attacking. You got to attack, please, please, please. You haven't even scouted this gold yet. All right, and this is going to be the final battle. You have tons and tons of positioning, and you have still a 100 food army because you were so macro oriented. But because you're so macro oriented and so not aggressive with this army, not only could he beat you with Zealot Phoenix, but he could also beat you by out macroing because you're just not scouting hard enough. Like in the time that it took you to just stay here, he could have had this entire half of the map, and you would have been on 4 bases. And he could have out macroed the macro player for the only reason that you didn't have any aggression in your play, or much scouting. I know you threw down a couple scans here and a couple scans at the army level, but I would have, if you throw down aggression and figure out how to handle Phoenix Zealot, please let me know. Oh my god, I would love to see those replays, because this build is super powerful against almost all Protoss ground armies. But anyway, I've been OoberBoober. That's my coaching session. Hopefully I've given you some that's a lot of supply drops. So hopefully I've given you some great feedback, McLovin, and let me know what you think. head on over to reddit.com/r/starcraft feedback, reddit.com/r/starcraft, and head on over to McLovin's own reddit.com/r/starcraft strategy. I've been meaning to post a replay up of strategy, Terran strategy, but I've been busy and all of my replays suck, so I have to find one. So check all those subreddits out and post your replay, and maybe I'll coach you next time. Peace out.